Bowl number 2, what to watch in the midweek. There's, an afternoon worth of Leagues Cup games overseas. There's some USL League One matchups, but probably the banner, the primetime games for Wednesday night, Leagues Cup semifinals, single elimination, Inter Miami versus Orlando, and LA Galaxy versus Seattle Sounders this evening.
Is that what we're calling those? Are they marquee? Is that how you view that, Rob?
I mean, they're in the marquee time of the evening at the very least.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I guess if you're looking for some midweek football in a good time zone, prime time slot for us, okay, then that's cool. I guess there's something here. Again, the value of this tournament is still open to question. The fact that there's no Mexican clubs left takes some of the intrigue out of it, especially for people like me who don't really have a dog in the fight anymore. Inter Miami, there's a significant question over whether or not Lionel Messi is going to play. He did not travel to DC, and I actually had a buddy say, hey, Lionel Messi is going to be in DC. You want to go to the game? And I don't know how those ticket prices would have gone. And I was like, actually, he's not traveling, because I had heard that, Javier Mascherano announcing that. And then my wife just last night, she's Puerto Rican, for anybody who doesn't know. And so she's tracking via social media what is happening with Bad Bunny doing all these concerts in Puerto Rico over the last couple of months. La Residencia, it is his attempt. Oh, Dog's making appearance on the show. His attempt to help the economy of Puerto Rico. It doesn't matter. We don't have to get into that. But several celebrities have popped up at these concerts with Bad Bunny to be part of it, because he's got this little house that's part of his stage. Guys like Kylian Mbappe was there actually like a month ago, I think, maybe even more than that, probably popping over during the Club World Cup. John Hamm was out there hanging out with Bad Bunny. I mean, these actors, I think Bad Bunny's in a new movie, so there's some crossover. My wife's like, isn't that Lionel Messi?
He's a soccer guy, right?
Isn't he hanging out? Don't you know that guy? Isn't he hanging out? Isn't that who that is? And I'm like, oh yeah, I think that's definitely Lionel Messi. So he did not travel to DC with his team for a match, presumably because of injury. He pops up in Puerto Rico at the Bad Bunny concert, which, you know what? I don't know that I'm, maybe I don't know how Inter Miami fans feel about it, but I don't know if I'm mad if he's injured, but he's flying, but he's at the concert. And now we have this Leagues Cup semifinal tonight. I know he trained yesterday. Javier Mascherano announced that, but or it was recognized that they trained, but I don't know what that means for his availability. Obviously, they'll be favorites at home against Orlando if they have him. There's a little bit more questionable if they don't, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then the other game is obviously the Galaxy and Seattle, and the Galaxy have an opportunity here to do a Tottenham, sort of, right? They have an opportunity to salvage a really bad season by their historical standards, especially by winning something. And this would get them entry into the Champions Cup next year. If you win the Leagues Cup, you get a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot. So there is that, Rob. Like, there is something here. And look, the Sounders have been really good recently, and they're starting to round into an MLS Cup contender. So maybe, we'll see what Brian Schmetzer does with his lineup too, because how important is it to the Sounders to win this thing when they, also have an eye on something that the Galaxy are no longer playing for, which is obviously, the opportunity to win an MLS Cup. By the way, these two teams, I think, play again right after the international break. So it's this game, and then they'll play again in the league. So there's something to that too.
Yeah, they're going to be familiar foes if that's the case. And Seattle doing various Seattle things, starting the season slow. Those opening couple months, there was a lot of skepticism about them. That they brought in quite a few new players. They looked like they had I think we might have even said on the show they might have one of the deepest MLS rosters we've seen. And they started slow, and as the summer has gone on, they have gotten stronger and stronger. They also, speaking of their motivations in Leagues Cup, they already had another distraction with playing in the Club World Cup through the summer as well. I'm sure they want to win every single game in front of them, but I'm sure at some point, the tank and of enthusiasm might go a little bit dry. But I wanted to ask though. We got some people saying, "Who the hell is Bad Bunny?" Do you want to explain it to Daniel in the comments?
He is a Puerto Rican musician. He, I guess you would say Latin trap. If any of you know what that is, you might. If you don't know who Bad Bunny is, there's a very good chance you don't know what Latin trap is. Just the style of music.
But going back to
It's reggaeton. It's Puerto Rican. It's a Latin rap. It's he's one of the most famous musical artists in the world at this point. But I guess if you are of a certain age, you're not keeping track of one Benito Ocasio Martinez or whatever his real name is.
while we're talking about Messi and his side quests to skipping games to go to the concert and whatnot, has Thomas Miller and Hunman's son had a more positive PR impact in just a short time than many of the interactions that Messi's had with American media?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, that's not what Messi does, right? Messi is not a big
He
out
never
there in the
claimed to.
world guy. No, he's not. He's not. He doesn't act super personable. He's always trying to kind of keep his life under wraps. He does. You obviously see him pop up in a commercial here or there, but it is not his gig, or is not his way to be the personable face of anything. I don't know. I don't want to get too judgy about that. Like, yeah, I do think Son is bigger in a certain quadrant of football fandom. Obviously, we know about that. But Messi is the biggest name in world football by a significant margin. In fact, my wife was like, "Oh, isn't that Messi?" I think she was on Bad Bunny's Instagram. I'm not on Instagram, so I don't know how, I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's a story or if it was a picture. And then I'm like, well, check and see if Messi posted anything, because I still can't find any photos that he was there on the regular internet. Only saw this through on my wife's Instagram. So there's a chance that like I hallucinated the whole thing, or I don't know. But I'm like, check Messi's Instagram, and she's like, well, I don't know what it is. I'm like, just look up Lionel Messi, and then she like lands on an account. She's like, well, I don't know if this is his, and I said, I think it is. 506 million followers. I think that's probably Lionel Messi's account. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or a phony account that's done really, really well for
Really
itself.
well. Yeah, maybe a dummy account that's like somehow convinced people it's actually Lionel Messi.